Chapter 1 Acceptance. How? Somebody please tell me how I can cope with bringing this life inside me into the world. I'm only 18 years old and already I'm the reason behind the demise of 3 lives. Is it right for me to ruin a 4th life? How did I even end up this way? Wasn't I supposed to be the one who ended the family trend? I knew better, but somehow I did not do better. It was one thing to read about Plato's cave, but it is another thing to actually recognize it and avoid it in real life. Worst of all, I'm an immigrant with only 6 years of life in America. If I was America, I would definitely send me back home where I came from. My given name is Shelley Althea Schilling, but if you followed me from birth until now, you would swear that I might as well have been named Vagina, Vagina, Vagina. Laugh all you want, but if you have a vagina, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Having a vagina has been the bane of my existence. Everything I've ever done seems predicated on the fact that I have this soft, supple substance between my legs that used to cripple me with pain once every month and crippled me with setbacks throughout my young life, no matter how hard I've tried to pretend it's not there. I should have known that my lifelong battle with vagina was not avoidable, particularly because my first 12 years of life were spent in small, close-knit communities in Jamaica where everything revolved around vagina. Who was born with one? Who would have it deflowered first? Who would be able to train it well enough to keep a man's attention for more than a year or 2? Who would have it stretched out of proportion during childbirth? And let's not forget, whose vagina would bring forth the best generation of children? It was always said that whatever a mother's vagina is guilty of will haunt her children for a lifetime. It did not seem fair that the penis children only had to worry about how to get their hands on the vagina children, by choice or by force. I started defending my vagina at the ripe old age of 3. I was crouched in the dirt cooking stones and leaves when a big red fire ant tried to sneak its way up there past my loose underwear. Poor unfortunate ant. I smashed that little crawler bit by bit with no regret. The first smash was of the knob protruding from its hind part. While it squirmed and tried to scurry away, I laughed and thought of the most fun part to smash next. Aside from that, my vagina did not bother me, and I did not bother it. Vagina did not start getting in my way until age 7, when my granny told me I was no longer allowed to play with the penis children. I could no longer jump over fences, climb trees, nor play any game that mostly penis children would play, especially crouching in the dirt to drive empty juice and milk box cars and trucks. Instead, I had to stay back at the house to help with chores, like sweeping the yard. I still do not understand the purpose of sweeping dirt. After Granny's declaration, I stomped 50 yards away from her to the chicken coop. I watched as the hens dropped their eggs, trying to see how their private part was structured so that I might come up with a way to remove the vagina attached to my body. When I realized how painful that might be, frustration set in. As I grew older, frustration with having a vagina turned into anger, and anger into rudeness. No matter the circumstance, I found a way to be rude. Eventually, my nickname in Jamaica became Fiesty Gal. My middle name could easily have been changed to Rude. That's a thought. Vagina Rude Vagina, or Vagina Fiesty Vagina. By age 10, I was blurting obnoxious words out of my mouth before I thought about the impact they would have. On one occasion, the penis children were picking Julie mangoes off the tree in our yard. I had always been the best mango picker, but this time, As I started skipping to the tree to join the Peanuts children, Granny threw a broom at me and told me to go sweep the yard. I was so angry that I ignored Granny's command and threw the broom at the Peanuts children, who scattered like water touched by oil to avoid the blow. I then heard myself scolding my granny to stop worrying about picnic problems and tend to big people's business. Granny did not hear me, but the nosy next door neighbor, Verna, who saw and heard everything, hissed her teeth and said, "No man no one no manuman." Manuman? In my devastated 10-year-old mind, Verna had called me a man. Yes, I wanted my vagina to vanish, but I did not want to replace it with a penis. I just wanted to be seen as a person. I had heard Granny gossiping with other neighbors about Verna's habit of having multiple men at the same time, so I swiftly responded to her insult with, "And no man no one no woman who fa puni wider than the Caribbean Sea." Verna's mouth and eyes flew wide open, and Granny grabbed a branch from the Julie mango tree, but I was too fast for her to catch up to me. My insolence got so bad throughout the years that Mama kept telling me that one day, if I wasn't careful, this feisty mouth of mine would get my vagina into some serious trouble.